So things are going pretty well. We've got our user list up and running, and we can tick to follow people and tick as well to unfollow them. And when we run the user list as well, then it displays the correct ticks depending on whether the user is following those people. Great, so the next step is to allow our current user to send a tweet. And as I mentioned, we're going to do that using a dialog, which is a box that pops up here, which is just a bit of a nicer user experience rather than going to a whole new activity. So let's set up an option in our menu at the top. So this is in menu user list. So we don't want settings anymore. We want our title to be tweet. And the ID is going to be tweet as well. I'm going to get rid of order in category, show as action, always. And sorry, I need to specify that I need to add an ID there, and the ID that I want to add is tweet. All right. So now if we get to our user list and then on options item selected, and we want to check for an ID no longer being action settings, but being tweet. There we go. So if the user has tapped the tweet button, we want to display our alert dialog. And we do that with a few lines of code. We start off by creating an alert dialog builder called builder. And this is going to be a new alert dialog builder. So this obviously enables us to build our alert dialog. And then we just gradually add all the options that we'll need to this builder. So first off, we're going to set the title. So I'll just call it send a tweet. And then we want to have an edit text or text box in this dialog for them to write their tweet into. So we'll create an edit text and I'll call it tweet content. And that's going to be a new edit text with a context of this. And talking of context, we need a context for our alert dialog builder as well. So the context for both of these is the class that we're in, i.e. the user list class, the activity. And then we add the view to the builder, and the view that we're going to add is the edit text view. All right, so now we just need to add 2 buttons to our builder. So we do that using set. You can see we've got set positive button and set negative button. So for our positive button, I'm going to choose the text send, and then we want a new on-click listener for that button. So this is what we want to happen when the user clicks send. And for now, I'll just log the contents of the edit text. So that we can see that that's been set up correctly. Okay, so that's our positive button. We also want a negative button because they might decide they don't want to do this after all. So we'll give them a cancel button, and that also is going to have a new on-click listener. And all we're going to do in this case is close the dialog. So dialog dot cancel. All right, so that's all the settings that we need for our dialog. So we just take our builder and we show it. There we go. So hopefully that makes reasonable sense. We've just created our alert dialog builder. We've set a title. We've set the content, which is going to be an edit text. And we've set the positive button, which logs something, and the negative button, which just closes the dialog. The positive button, by the way, will close the dialog automatically. So here we go. Let's tap our tweet button. And we can see, there we go, send a tweet, and there's our edit text. So migrate tweet, and if we tap send, that closes down, and then if we have a look in app info, in fact we can see it there. There we go, migrate tweet. So that's a really useful UI feature to create a little box there which just saves going to a separate activity. Okay, so now we obviously want this tweet to be saved on pass if the user chooses to send it. So let's jump over to the pass documentation and get the code for saving an object, just so we don't have to save it or write it all out again ourselves. Here we go. So this is going to be a tweet. And we'll create a new pass object with a class of tweet. And then what are we going to need? Well, we obviously need the tweet content. So I'll call that content. And that's going to be this here. So the content of tweet content. And we'll also need to know who sent the tweet. So we'll have username, which will be the name of the current user, which is of course pass user dot get current user dot get username. And that's all we need to save. We'll be interested in when the tweet was sent, but that will be saved automatically anyway. Now I'm going to do just a little toast when the save is complete, because I think it's good for the user to know that that's been sent successfully. So we'll just do a quick toast. Dot make text get application context. Your tweet has been sent. And then length long. Oh, it's gone for short. Let's go for long. And we might as well do an error message as well. Your tweet could not be sent. Please try again. Now that's obviously going to be a very frustrating message because the dialog is going to have already been closed. So if you were running this as a production app, you definitely want to improve the user experience by saving their tweet so that they could at least try and send it again later, rather than just telling them it's lost forever. Okay, so now we should be able to click the send button and that will actually save a tweet on pass. And if that works, then all that remains is to be able to view the tweets of all the people that we're following, which is what we'll do in the next and final video of this section. Here we go. So let's send a tweet. And I'll do the classic hello world and we'll click send. And there we go. Your tweet has been sent. That looks very promising. So let's have a quick check. Make sure it's there on pass. And there it is. There's our tweet and content and username. Wonderful. So that's almost everything we need. Of course, Twitter isn't much use without actually being able to see your feed and see the tweets of other people. And that's what we'll do in the next and final video of this section.